Evening, everybody. We got to start the show now because otherwise Joe Colton's going to throw more pre-show grenades out there. But it's 9 o'clock. It's Friday night. It's time for the What's on Joe My Team stream. We will be right back. This is our first show with over 1,000 subscribers. There's lots of folks out there who thought we couldn't. And this is just to prove that we absolutely can. Option 2 was to have the shipwreck gift go for a solid minute.
Good call. Option 1.
I decided to stick with this one.
Get us demonetized right away.
Right.
We're trying to behave.
Jerk.
At least for a week or two, we have to behave.
Hey, speak for yourself, man. I aim to misbehave.
I mean, counting how many times, like, you have zingers tonight, Weber.
Like, all the good material's gone.
No!
We always say the pre-show is the best show.
No.
So anyways, as we mentioned before, it's Friday night. It's 9-ish p.m. It's time for the What's on Joe Mine Team stream. I'm your host, Mike Irizarry. Welcome to everyone who's catching us live and on recording. If you're catching us live tonight or you're on Facebook, go ahead, give us a little, some kind of reaction now. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a little huggy guy. We love little huggy guy. If you're catching us on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to our channel. Even though we're past 1,000, having a few extra in the tank might help for when Joe Colton inevitably swears somebody off the show. So we need as many as you feel like giving us. Continue to subscribe to the show. If you are catching us either on Facebook or on our audio version, the best thing you can do to support the program is head over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel there. Really, really, really appreciate it. And of course, be sure to leave a comment down below in the comment section, not just in the live chat, and share us in all your various social media channels. Joining me tonight, we've got a full house. Everybody's back, including the former head of marketing for the G.I. Joe brand at Hasbro, the Hot Show, Mark Weber.
Hey, good to be here.
So,
with my chin wound, where is it? There it is. No.
Yeah, it's still there. Still there.
Yeah, still there.
Still
working on it.
About as red as it did last week, although not quite as large.
Yeah, I know. It's within. I need a cone. It's within pawing distance. That's not helpful. But it's hard to do the show in the cone of shame.
So yes, Sherman is right. Chicago rules apply. Subscribe early, subscribe often.
Makes sense.
So, Joe Colton has you on dad joke alert tonight, huh?
Oh, yeah. Come on, fire.
It's two. So
I found a joke online that I forwarded to like 8 people, and 3 of them got back to me. Well, I was crestfallen because 3 of the 8 got back to me and said, "I don't get it." And I'm like,
oh. I would get it then, because I don't get jokes.
We're gonna float it later, maybe off the show, but
okay,
or maybe on the show. We'll see. It's a short joke.
Ground for future material.
Should I get Wes since it's a short joke?
No.
Wow,
you can get away with that.
Yeah.
He's tiny.
Taking the man down in front of our dozens and dozens of fans.
Yeah, he lifts weight. He's a former pro wrestler, so mitigating factors, right?
He's the wrist lock.
He's the wrist lock.
Put him in my pocket. That's how I got him.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
Like a head. Put him in a headlock, and then I said, "You're mine."
You told Maggie, "Hey, I met a guy. I think he's great." And she's like, "How would you describe him?" You said, "Compact."
I was like, he's like a hobbit, except not hairy feet.
Fair enough.
Oh, always a plus.
So yeah, I guess really, do we need to introduce Joe Colton at this point? Back from her 2
There
week
she is.
hiatus from the show, it was just Saturday to Saturday on some godforsaken cruise ship.
It's a
Full of-
great Petri dish.
Literally.
What we drinking tonight, Joe?
It's been a long week back. So we're doing the good stuff today.
What's the good stuff?
Vodka.
All right. Excellent.
1 ice cube.
I will take that opportunity. I will join you.
Ooh. It's been a week.
Ooh, is that the peanut butter stuff?
You
Screwball.
have no idea.
Is it
There we
peanut
go.
butter?
It is. It's delightful.
Son of a bitch.
It's
Right.
not. It's not really whiskey because the proof is too low. But
Oh, really? Is it a
But-
girly drink?
no,
Oh.
it's just it's technically a peanut butter liqueur, but it tastes like peanut butter and whiskey, so they call it peanut butter whiskey.
All right.
I'll
take
allow it.
But it's tasty. It's tasty, and I endorse it thoroughly.
it. Ooh. On the rocks. Nice.
Absolutely. Needs an ice cube to help it breathe.
Whereas your vodka is on the rock.
It's a
It's
giant
just-
ice cube.
Giant ice. See, Rob, we're the last people alive that don't have giant ice.
It comes
been
in a tray of 6.
I've been saying that I want giant ice because I put ice in everything.
Oh.
Like and I'm just tired of getting 46 ice cubes. I just want one big hunk of ice.
I like the ice cube trays that make Han Solo and carbonite ice cubes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, the joke doesn't
He's, like,
last for long.
floating.
But
And of course, rounding out our cast of thousands tonight, he is the host of Rack Time, our audio only comic book show. On the rare occasion you find one, but here he is, Rack Time Rob.
Woo!
He's,
Holy.
Sad
No-
thing is, I think in all that time that there's been no rack time, like maybe 3 G.I. Joe comics have come out.
yeah, it hasn't been a particularly plentiful run, but
Yeah.
Well, they've got to figure out how to restart it again.
we're trying to reformat Rack Time a little bit too. So that's not.
And plus, now I have a computer that can do more than 2 things at once, and one of those things, not being running the fan. So.
New host Rob Liefeld welcomes you to Hack Time. It's a whole new show.
Oh, I'm
Hashtag
adding that one, Weber. Adding that
A
one.
warning for foot fetishists. None of
right.
the episodes will be about drawing feet.
That's right. Rob Ryan is like, this show sucks.
Yeah.
show's terrible.
Rex Ryan.
Oh, Rex Ryan.
Well, whatever. Maybe his brother too. We don't know. It just has,
Definitely.
just has
Probably
to be-
something weirder like elbows.
It came from somewhere.
Just thumbs. Just
Like-
the thumbs.
He likes beards.
I like that the foot fetish gets creepier if he was looking at his brother's feet. Now you're like,
Ugh.
Bye.
weirdo.
Ugh.
So Joe Colton,
Yes.
you were on the boat. We didn't hear anything about any kind of
COVID.
COVID, or you didn't run out of food, or you didn't weren't keeping in Walmart bags or anything like that. So I'm
So
Oh.
I'll tell you. So you had to have a vaccine to get on.
okay.
But in addition to that, you had to take a negative COVID test 24 hours, no later than 24 hours.
Ironic.
Right? Weber.
Easy. I didn't hear anything.
24 hours before boarding, and you had to upload your results, and they had to check your ID and all this stuff. So if you had COVID, you weren't getting on that ship. And they also had the right to do random checks on the ship. So
All right.
yeah.
Did you get randomly checked?
Nope.
Because it really just sounds like an opportunity for the staff to hit on the women.
Right, and stick something up their nose.
I mean,
Whatever floats your boat.
I'm not here to shame, but maybe not.
Right. No shaming.
No.
It was fine. Maggie and I and William have taken home tests and all are negative. So, and we have no symptoms, but I did
And you've
pretty
been home
much
for a few days now.
Yeah. So I've been home and haven't really gone out like at all. I went for a walk by myself. So lonely.
With the teeth grinding.
To walk by
Yeah.
yourself, the slow closing theme music to the Incredible Hulk playing.
Right?
No, I actually preferred it because there was so many phone calls. I became a professional conference caller.
No one's offering me a buffet of hot dogs or whatever terrible food you get on Boosh.
Food was so
Where's
good
my
on the
Where's my
cruise.
3 a.m. shrimp cocktail?
So you will be very proud of me for two things. One, St. Thomas ran out of food for us, so we had to get on the boat.
Now, did
This
St.
was
Thomas run out of St. Thomas run out of food for normal people, or did she just run out of food for you? Because you're an eater.
no normal people.
Okay.
Normal people.
All right.
Yeah. So before we got to the restaurant, a couple of the other people who were on the ship were like, "Oh, they ran out of food. Like supply chain issues are a global thing." So
Yeah.
and they also didn't expect so many people wanting to eat on island. So what they did was the chefs that were made Caribbean and like curried goat and like iguana and like all the delicious foods that I would get on the islands. So I had that. And you'll be proud of me. I had a lamb shank and prime rib for dinner. And I didn't stop it, Mike. I didn't eat all of it, so that way I can have part of both for a midnight snack. But at 2:30, I was watching Star Trek in bed, eating a lamb shank. I was like, Maggie. So the next
How very Klingon of you.
they're looking at me. She's like, "Are you seriously fucking eating a steak?" And I go, "Yep." And watching Star Trek. So.
And she was like, "Hey, carve me off a
And
piece
we're
with your
demonetized
back
at 9:14.
No.
First episode we're even possibly eligible for, and Joe Colton's taking us off the board. So remember to visit our coffee page. We picked up a new weekly supporter this week. You'll see his name in the credits.
Nice.
But yeah, the rest of you, by all means, please join Brian. Support us on coffee. Links
Yes.
down below. Joe Colton likes to swear.
And
14 minutes. We had a good run.
I actually said SOB under my breath, but you guys didn't catch it, so I just let it
I
go.
did. I was just hoping YouTube didn't.
That's all right. That's rated R, and we can get away with that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then 2 nights after that or 2 nights before that, I had like cheesecake as a midnight snack after having
That's normal though. Like cheesecake as a midnight snack is a heck of a lot more.
like at 2:30.
That's every episode of the Golden Girls.
At 2:30.
I'm definitely Sophia in the Golden Girls.
because you're so short.
Everybody
Makes
thinks they're
sense.
the Sophia.
Yeah, everybody thinks
Everybody
it's
thinks they're the Sophia.
No, in my group of friends, people are like, "I'm a Blanche," and I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
I want to meet her. Who's the one who thinks she's Blanche?
Many
Okay.
think they're Blanche.
Okay, just
I
checking.
dare say that you're probably really more of a Dorothy.
You think I'm that miserable?
I
No,
think it's a compliment.
look, B. Arthur is
B. Arthur's amazing.
B. Arthur's one of my smart ass idols.
Yeah.
No, that is no slight to you.
Okay.
But what I'm
No,
saying,
I love B. Arthur.
she was the one who could both, throw the line out there and then also be the recipient of other
Yes.
barb.
Yes.
I dare say that is the line that you walk in life as well as on our program.
So,
So would
Sarah Dietrich is our Betty White.
So would you put B. Arthur at the general level, or would she be a sergeant? Or
I think B. Arthur is absolutely a general.
She's absolutely a general.
Come on, she's in a Mel Brooks movie.
I'm lamenting the fact that we were at 1,000 subscribers for a while, and then we opened up with Golden Girls rankings. And
Look, man, it's a great show.
Which Golden Girl are you?
Everybody,
Sorry, that was my fault.
everybody watching this show either watched and is lying about it, watched it unapologetically, or had a mom or a grandma who watched it, so they know it that way. Everybody knows the Golden Girls. Don't lie to me otherwise.
So I kept eating really late at night. And I had a burger one night with fries. Just Why not?
You're on a cruise ship. If you stop eating, they ask, "Are you sick?"
Right.
So I had a salad
It's like
for
the
a
cruise ship
meal.
is like run by everyone's Italian grandmother.
Right. Oh yeah.
You stopped eating. Why?
So Matt Rubin has a question for you, Joe. Which episode of Star Trek were you watching when you're eating the lamb shank?
Oh my God, it was Yesterday's War.
Yesterday's Enterprise.
Enterprise. Sorry. Yes. I was like, wait, what was it?
Oh no!
It was bad. It's been a long week, people.
Look,
Bang.
Ragtime Rob's on a Star Trek kick.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
are you?
Well, I just finished watching Picard, so
Oh, yeah.
we got Paramount, and I'm taking advantage.
Okay, so we got to see
I
the
wanted to get up.
premiere.
Yeah, I haven't done the season 2 yet. I just finished
okay.
season 1.
Remember,
So we got to see the premiere of season 2 Picard on the ship with some of the actors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Picard season 2, Picarder.
Careful.
I'm gonna keep
Almost a
using
swear jar.
the
You're gonna try and will that into working, aren't you?
It's a thing. That's so fetch.
No.
Ugh.
No.
Picarder.
I would have to say my cruise MVP is probably William.
For not dying?
No, because he ditched his Klingon before the cruise.
Hey! Oh, hey!
Does that count?
Little inside,
Counts.
Yeah.
It
Write it
counts.
down.
It's number
little
4.
inside sports there.
I've been sitting on that for like 5 minutes. So I'm much more
Torpedo
comfortable
83
now.
sharing our opinion on Lower Decks.
He found a better Klingon. So.
It ain't hard.
Yeah, I've been watching Lower Decks too, so even I'm technically on a Star Trek kick.
Lower
Yeah.
Decks 2, Picarder.
Picarder.
No.
No, guys.
No, works
no.
even less.
All right.
So
You laughed at Picarder the first 100 times I said it, so don't lie.
It was 10 o'clock at night, and with the week I've had, if it wasn't some kid screaming, I was like, hey, that's amusing.
Picarder. Anyways, we do actually have some news this week. I'm not. Wait for it. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but let me finish.
It's been 2 whole weeks. She just had to let that out.
Right? Woo. I mean, again, I appreciate your enthusiasm here, but settle. Joe,
Plus, there's going to be baseball.
I know that has Joe Colton fired up.
The football has me fired up. Why? Why would you trade for the fucking NFL worst player?
Speaking as from where he just came from, enjoy.
Oh man.
Where did he come from?
You don't root
The Colts.
you don't root for the Commanders, do you?
The commodes.
No.
There's no worse curse in sports than a bad owner. Can't trade the owner.
That sounds like an 80s Yankee fan talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that pain. So anyways, it's time for the news.
Do.
Thank you.
Very Carson Wentz of you.
Right? Below
Bare
average,
minimum.
somehow still acceptable.
Yeah.
So first news item. Call sign Longbow released images at the beginning of the week. We remember Troy and John coming on board and talking to us a couple months back.
Yep.
We are waiting for their Kickstarter to get going sometime this spring. They did release some images of their upcoming free digital comic, which will be connected to that. That is from Broken Icon. As see there, the action figure Kickstarter is coming soon. You can follow them on Facebook at Call Sign Longbow, or on there, if you're not on Facebook, cslongbow.com. So be sure to check all that out. Some neat images from the upcoming book. That book will be free. So,
Ooh.
And we thought they were going retro with Russians as the villains.
no, who knew? I dare say just ahead of the curve.
Yep. They know what's up.
Hey, the classics always come back.
Right. It's like Randy Orton betraying a partner. Whoa!
Oh.
At some point, he's going to break poor Matt Riddle's heart. But
Yes, he is.
in the meantime, let's just all enjoy the magic of RK Bro.
Mm-hmm.
So next news item.
Doot, 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 doot.
There we go. Now we're back in sync. Now we got it going.
We need one more to be in sync.
Just another weekly reminder here that G.I. Joe en España
Oh,
is
no.
taking pre-orders now. It is 8 full-color volumes detailing the history of G.I. Joe in Spain. Plus, you do get a free collector's case to hold those 8 volumes. It is, I forget what the price on it is. We just go
Quanto
€200.
Cuesta.
web,
Quanto Cuesta.
website is there on the page, gijoenespaña.blogspot.com. Just remember, you are ordering internationally because you're probably not in Spain. And there you go.
Quanto Cuesta? $300. Ay, caramba!
Alcor,
go.
I could do with less bad Russian 80s nostalgia right now.
Couldn't we all?
That's
Right.
true.
As we all head outside and scream Wolverines. But yeah, it's anyways, back to the point at hand. Las cucarachas entran, pero no pueden salir.
Nice.
So anyways, that's Roaches check in, but they don't check out. That's the only thing I can say in Spanish fluently. Earlier this week, I was Rob and I watched the movie Convoy because we were into self-torture. We watched it like 25 minutes at a time because that movie's so bad.
Oh,
But the thumbnail that it gave us on YouTube was the Spanish thumbnail. So it had the movie title as Convoyo. So I started trying to decipher the lyrics to the song Convoy into Spanish and fixing it into the... It didn't go very well.
I wouldn't
Still
say-
better than the movie.
Yeah. That's a terrible movie.
And apparently the original cut was 3 hours and 40 minutes long.
So yeah, in case anybody was ever wondering about the Chris Christopherson classic Convoy, be sure to hit us up at whatsonjoemine@gmail.com before we expunge it from our memory somewhere in the next 4 to 5 days.
Recommended for Burt Young enthusiasts.
Both of you. Hey, he was in Back to School, so nothing but love for Burt Young.
Yeah.
Next news item.
Doot, 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 doot.
All right. Earlier today, some details were dropped on the G.I. Joe young adult novel, the G.I. Joe classified young adult novel that we first heard about a while ago. It's by author Kelly Scavron, available on July 26th from Amazon. I'll get a link to it up in the down below. I didn't have a chance to get there yet. But again, pre-orders are up on the site now. I will go ahead and read the preview text. When Stan's mom gets the job offer of a lifetime at a cutting-edge tech company, Stan packs his bags and exchanges Chicago for Springfield, home to the secretive tech behemoth DeCobre Industries. Dun, dun, dun. Saying goodbye to big city life is only the first challenge Stan faces in moving to Springfield, a town that's eerily under the thumb of his mother's powerful employer. DeCobre has its hand in everything, including the Lyre XR augmented reality headsets that Stan and his fellow students at Springfield Academy are asked to beta test. At first, Stan loves his headset. Data on his classmates at his fingertips, and the Lyre's custom filters make school sort of fun. But then he meets Scarlett, Ichino Zorome, and Julian, and his new friends show him there's a lot more going on behind DeCobre's flashy tech. When several kids go missing at school, Stan and his friends set out to uncover the truth behind the devices. But the further they dig, the more sinister the conspiracy at the heart of their town appears. Dun, dun, dun. And that is for ages 8 to 12 years old, 256 pages. Pre-order price is a discounted $13.49. You're saving 10% if you order now. Regular price is $14.99, so it's not going to break the bank either way. Also available as a Kindle ebook, but again, that is going to pop out for you on Tuesday, July 26th. So there is the preview for the G.I. Joe classified Book 1 young adult novel.
You know what I noticed about that cover?
Yes.
Scarlett's right-handed. Just saying.
And they have feet.
They have
You
feet.
got feet.
Covered not by Rob Liefeld.
Scarlett's showing off her feet. Shameless.
Right.
Look at the bottom of that foot.
Right? Pow.
She's got soul.
Hey, it can't be. It's not anything. Anything is good for the brand. So let's hope it's quality.
Absolutely.
I know DC's made a lot of inroads on their young adult stuff, so it could be done. This is a big market.
Look, ages 8 to 12 for the reading class. This is exactly who we need to get into G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
This is the group of people that being interested in G.I. Joe means we get to have our G.I. Joe. So yes.
I mean, what was the last thing they put out that was aimed really towards you? Renegades?
Renegade.
Kinda?
Yeah.
I would say Renegades is pretty all ages appropriate. So yeah, Renegades.
If only people could have seen it. It wasn't bad.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Best rated show on a network that nobody could get.
That's it. It's like being the nicest guy in prison. Copyright Jim Cornette.
Cornelius McGillicuddy does have the hot take. If that novel doesn't end in now you know, and knowing is half the battle, then the book will be trash. Well, you know what? It's hard to argue with that.
I can just see Snake Eyes saying that in the last paragraph.
So bitter.
Oh wait, Joe Colton, you're sending me news. News during the show.
Ooh, breaking.
Well, I don't know if they're breaking.
We need a different sounder for that.
Maybe it's broken. Maybe it's broken.
It's 5 hours old.
Okay, let me see if I can open this up without breaking the.
Yes.
Without breaking the. Discuss amongst yourselves. Actually, next we don't have another news item. That's the last news item.
This is it.
Colton's breaking news item is our last news item.
Okay. Do you want me to just?
Let me see if I can get that up. Hang on. Takes me a second.
I'm digging the comment.
Work.
Like hand puppets. Is that what you?
Hey, I'm digging Vegeta's comment on, is that Scarlett the same Scarlett O'Hara? Well, karate kick, red hair, right-handed. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
Right hand.
Could be.
That's
They didn't let her bring her crossbow to school, but
Most schools will frown on such a thing.
This time.
yeah.
What are you
Maybe
doing?
she can make one in shop class.
What was
Maybe.
the guy? Now, pardon me. I hope I'm not being, correct here, but one of the guys' names is Teginzu or something.
On this?
His three friends. It's Scarlett, Teginzu, and
it's Scarlett, Julian, and damn it, Mark.
I thought I misheard you.
And Ichino.
Oh, okay. Suzuki.
I'm not. Mark.
What?
I wasn't gonna mark you down.
Is that
6.
good or bad?
I'm gonna have to take you over there. So, anyways, Adi Shankar wants to make the Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover movie. This is off comicbook.com, so
Yeah.
grain of salt time.
Yep. He is the guy that is behind Castlevania.
Yes, Adi Shankar, the visionary behind the Bootleg Universe brand and hit series like Netflix Castlevania, has another wild, passionate project in mind, getting that G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie up on the screen. Shankar is currently launching his new superhero satire series, The Guardians of Justice, on Netflix, and has allowed him to truly embrace the nostalgia love of the Bootleg Universe brand in the biggest way yet. However, for an entire generation of 80s and 90s kids and the new generation of 2000s moviegoers, G.I. Joe and Transformers would be the ultimate nostalgia mashup.
Would it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So and again, all apologies to folks who want to see this happen. I hope it does and you enjoy it. But by all means, if you want to check out that full article, it's comicbook.com, and just it's reasonably new. Should still be on the front page. But just G.I. Joe and Transformers are both such deep franchises on their own that one 90-minute or 100-minute movie just isn't going to do service to either. To me, again, if it's your thing and that's just all you want to see, and you want your hour and a half, 2 hours of popcorn movie, by all means, go for it. But don't expect it to be the end all be all achievement that you that you wanted it to be.
I mean,
And plus, this isn't saying it's going to happen. Just that this guy, hey, I'd like to do one if you do it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved both of those brands, and they're Hasbro brands that came out at the same time. Cover your ears, Joe. Most Joe fans are Transformers fans somewhere down the line, and most Transformers fans are Joe fans somewhere down the line. But this crossover never really worked for me because I couldn't really swallow that the Joes could do much damage to these gigantic robots, and I didn't much like the idea of my favorite toy being, ancillary, being a secondary bit, being like, oh man, Bumblebee just stepped on Destro, Baroness, and Major Blood. They're all dead. All right. Damn. G.I. Joe had a hard time killing them, but Bumblebee, man,
It's a bit fatalist,
he's hardcore.
but
That's
like
nice.
like chocolate and guacamole, two great tastes. Best left far, far apart.
I agree.
You can make guacamole bread or avocado bread.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
good.
Yeah, it is good. Very good.
Good.
Avocado bread's fantastic and easy too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that you would say that, knowing as it's baking. So that's like an instant fight. Like if you say the word
It's
baking.
alchemy.
No, I can do bread making. I can't do anything else.
Okay, because I like when you say the word bake, don't the sprinklers just come on?
The one's like hissing. I'm getting ready. Don't you dare bake.
the fire department's immediately on yellow alert.
There's dogs howling somewhere.
Yeah, Joe's little known nickname of Cookie Monster, and not in that way.
No.
Although I do eat a lot of cookies.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
in that way it works, but
Yeah.
Bake?
way-
It's more like the Frankenstein of cookies.
anyways, let's let you do your thing here. That's the news.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yay!
Woo!
Thank you for breaking news, Joe Golden.
You're
Look at
welcome.
that.
Normally, you guys, I don't want to seem like I'm slinging mud here, but you guys usually don't, contribute a whole lot of news content.
I take that personally. Look, it just changed my whole evening because we just had breaking news. So we'll be on here live for the next 3 hours.
And David says avocado bread isn't baking. Avocado bread is not the same as avocado toast.
Yeah.
We're
True.
talking about avocado toast.
True.
Avocado bread is something you can bake. I have baked it. It's delicious.
Yes. It is delicious.
It's mixed in the dough.
Oh my goodness.
Most of it is the dough because avocado is has a lot of protein and a lot of natural fat, so you don't even add any butter or anything like that. It's very easy.
No milk and no butter.
Very easy. Even Joe Colton can do it. That's how easy avocado bread is.
So this is our Golden Girls Star Trek and baking tips
Avocado
extravaganza.
bread baking club.
I take.
Be sure to support your local PBS station.
We got 1,000 subscribers and the show went to hell.
Remember,
We can do anything. We got
Facebook.
1,000 subscribers.
Go ahead, leave us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a little huggy guy.
Or
Give
a thumbs down.
us a loaf of avocado bread. Just to
We love avocado bread.
that integration a little bit. If you're watching us on YouTube tonight, give us a thumbs up despite your best efforts. Subscribe to the channel for more hot avocado bread content.
So the next time we reach 1,000 subscribers, he should not tell us.
It's probably true. When we reach 2,000 subscribers, the whole show is about Diana Davis's cat.
Yeah.
Whole show. I like cats.
Or puppies.
I like cats.
Why wait for 2,000?
Oh my god.
Anyways,
That's a call.
but
Mm-hmm.
there we go. See, she's with us.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
More news about my cat.
I love you, Diana.
Brent Anderson, he's on board with us too. Avocado
Go.
bread
There you go.
for
Slight change in format.
Well, the
It's
first
green.
1,000 subscribers. It's
We're
all about
thin
the
on
building.
news this week, right?
Yeah.
We're thin on news. In a couple of weeks, we'll have a lot more. Maybe next week.
American
Figures we
Baking
ordered,
Show.
we pre-ordered last week won't be in until the next lunar, eclipse.
But let's get back to it and get into the community calendar.
All right, let's do that.
We do have a large breakdown segment after this, after all. But tomorrow, March 12th, you're in the Pittsburgh area. Head on out to the It's Too Groovy Toy Show. Thanks to Matt Rubin for the heads up here. That is at the St. John the Baptist Cathedral in Munhall, Pennsylvania. 10 to 3, $5 admission. They do have a YouTube, or rather a Facebook page, a YouTube page, a Facebook page. If you absolutely need more details, again, this is real short notice. I apologize, but hey, there's only one of me, so I appreciate everybody who sends in stuff for community calendar. Diana Davis asks, can you mention TFCon that weekend in Burbank? Send me an email, unless it's this weekend. Then just put it in the live chat, and I'll put it on the screen. So, also, on Sunday, if you're in the St. Louis area, we talked about it last week, the Toy Man Show, one of its 7 dates for the year at the Machinist Hall in Bridgeton, up in the northwest part of town. I will personally vouch for Toy Man Show. It is a treasure trove of stuff. Whether it's Joe stuff is kind of hit or miss, but if you can't find something at Toy Man Show that either you have to have or you want to talk about afterwards, or you have to look up on your phone, or I mean, it's like part show and part museum. It's awesome. You need to get out there. $5 admission there. Kids under 16 are free. A $12 VIP early access for that extra hour. It's where the big kids go to play.
Was it Toy Man Show for all iterations of it during the year?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
And you can look them up online too. You get the full schedule at toymanshow.com.
It is the Toy Man, how do you say, yes, the show.
Yes.
No, too much toys, too much.
Next week, it's Toylanta, March 18 to 20 at the Hilton Hotel and Conference Center in Marietta, Georgia. You can get more details there at toylanta.com. Toylanta is a big show, one of the big G.I. Joe shows, too, formerly Joe Lanta, but they've expanded to encompass a bit more. Again, all the admission information and pre-sale tickets, all at toylanta.com. So check that out if you're anywhere close to the South. Toylanta is a must. And similarly, next weekend on Sunday, March 20th, is the Columbus Toy and Game Show. We had a big discussion last week about Dickie Beer. Joe probably got a couple of them on the cruise ship. But admission $10, early buyer $14. Go ahead and check that out. Again, if you're anywhere around Columbus, Ohio, this is a big show. Regardless of what you're collecting, there's going to be something there. And there's also going to be Dickie Beer. So check that out. That is at ctspromotions.com if you need more details there.
Oh, you missed one.
What I miss?
GalaxyCon. Next weekend in Richmond, Virginia.
Well, nobody tells me about these things.
Oh.
We weren't invited.
Sorry.
So what's the website for folks wanting to check out GalaxyCon?
I think it's just GalaxyCon.
It's alt.black.helicopter.
Yeah, it's galaxycon.com. It's in Richmond, Virginia. It is, what is it? March 18th to the 20th at the Greater Richmond Convention Center. And
so at least we can get it on next weekend show.
Yeah. Tickets are 2-day passes are $88. 3-day passes are $100. And it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you can even get single-day passes. I'm just full of information on this one.
Right? You're holding out on me. I'll put anything just about into the community calendar, but you have to let me know.
Yes.
There's so many shows that I can't possibly catch them all.
Right. So the Finest will have a table there, and I will be possibly interviewing some G.I. Joe cosplayers.
All right. TFCon is in Los Angeles. That is starting today, apparently, at the Los Angeles Marriott. So if you are out in that neighborhood, out in that neck of the woods, stop in, say hi to Diana Davis, buy her and Colin a drink, and then maybe the dogs too. Who knows? But yeah, it's a big weekend in Burbank. She'll be there with her Saturday morning books to get voice actors to sign them. So there you go. Sounds like a plan. Hang out by the voice talent. Meet yourself a Diana.
Buy us drinks.
Yeah, buy us drinks. That's what I'm talking about.
I know what it's about. And so, please interview Snake Eyes cosplayers. Good job there, Carly. Here, Charlie. Go on. I always wonder because our joke with Bill Ratner is that I was the voice of Snake Eyes on the old Sunbow cartoon. So I wonder how the others would deal with that joke. Oop, I don't want to do that. I wonder if they would take it with the good humor that he did.
It's confusing now that he talks and everything, but our hero's not necessarily that heroic.
Dun, 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 dun.
He hasn't taken his oath yet.
Right.
Oh, oath. Phooey.
Ah!
So we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Okay.
Be back. Join us in 30, will you?
Yes.
We buy, sell, and trade vintage and modern toys. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, DC, and more. Located in beautiful downtown Kokomo, Indiana, we are open every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. It's a theme park of nostalgia. Join the thousands of people who have traveled from all over the Midwest for over a decade to buy and sell with us. Get your geek on.
All right. Kokomo Con was last weekend, so can't do that. But you can always go to Kokomo Toys. There's always a little convention on Saturdays in Kokomo, Indiana.
A lot of Bosk on that show.
Right. A lot of Bosk.
That's why they were only $10.
That's
and,
one
and outside, slumped against the wall, Dengar. Will bounty hunt for food. The only hobo bounty hunter.
Boss. They're trying to get Dave Draper in the door by having so much Bosk. So anyways, that brings us to the meat of today's program, the much anticipated,
The giant lamb shank for today.
Today's giant lamb shank, the 1984 character tier list. As you can see down below, 19 characters for this year. An increase over the 16 from each of the first 2 years for the brand. Mark Weber, any thoughts on 1984 as a whole before we get started?
I mean, it's a big year, right? Not just talking about the number of characters, but look at the heavyweights in here, right?
Yes.
This is
It's a lot.
I mean, the first year is seismic because it didn't exist before, right?
Right.
And then the second year, you have the swivel arms fully into it, and a lot more vehicles and bad guy vehicles, and a lot of innovation in year 2. But man, year 3 is like when it's just flexing like crazy. There's so much win in 1984. So
1984 is when G.I. Joe went from toy to cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. And it's just, they put out figures that weren't even articulated, and people were happy with them. So,
well, kind of.
Sort of.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, some articulation, but
I mean, if you crack that bubble helmet, maybe his head moved. I don't know.
I guess it probably did. But anyway,
No.
This is a big year. And one of Joe's favorites hiding in there. I see.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, winking at her.
If you're catching this for the first time, obviously we were taking the characters who were initially released in 1984. We were putting them onto tiers. General characters are the signature characters for the brand. Major are, I mean, for lack of a better term, major characters who don't quite have that cultural relevance, but are very important to the G.I. Joe story. Sergeant are the ones who are maybe a step below that. They're folks who you see a lot of, but if they were there, they're pretty interchangeable with other characters on the same. Anyways, you know a sergeant when you see a sergeant. Corporals are the ones who showed up a lot but didn't do anything. And then privates are the one that nobody really remembers except for us because we're total geeks.
Blink and they're gone.
Right. And we've done this for 1982. We've done this for 1983. There is a playlist for these episodes on our page. So if you want to see those, by all means, head on over to the What's on Joe Mine YouTube page and check them out, because when we get them all done, they will all be on the playlist together. We're not going to do every year through 1994. because that would be silly at a certain point.
Awful lot of privates after about 1990.
Awful lot of privates at a certain point, yes.
Especially the 90s.
And we're not akin to showing people our privates. So
Not for free.
right.
Definite demonetization.
That's it.
So yeah, we'll have to wait till we can do super chats for that. So we do them in alphabetical order, and the first order of business for 1984 is the Baroness.
Woo!
And I don't think we have to debate the first order of business. I think we
Nice
can
and easy.
go ahead and take the Baroness and just drop her right up on that general line as one of the main 3 bad guys for the entire line.
Yeah.
I dare say she's the number 2 bad guy for the entire line.
It's a little jarring to see a photo of the Baroness on the internet fully clothed, but
Try to
we'll
carry
go
on.
with it. Yeah.
What?
Oh, there's so much wretched Baroness art out there.
Oh.
Embarrassing.
Joe Self wants to remind everyone that these are the definitive rankings, and he is
Ah.
absolutely correct. These rankings are completely infallible,
Except no substitutes.
Yeah.
except no substitutes.
Weber will make you remember.
Mhm.
So, Joe Colton,
Yeah.
your first G.I. Joe cosplay was.
Yeah. Baroness.
So, what? Give us your thoughts.
She's top 3. She's amazing. Her gear is great. When I was little and I had seen the figure, I was like, she has to be evil. It's all black hair, black glasses. She looks like she could be okay, but she's really not. And like, even as a little kid, you knew like she was a bad person. So I liked her. I don't know.
Not to mention a character that was created in the comic books
Yes.
and worked her way into the rest of the lore on the popularity of that comic book those comic books.
Yes. I wonder what they thought back then if she would actually last as long as she did when they first created her. If she was just going to be like a 1 or 2, 3 episodes, and then like, do you know what I mean? Like if her longevity, because some of these characters have fallen off and then come back and then fallen off and like not come back. So
Yeah. So the Baroness is that rare combination of character and sex appeal.
Yes.
That has
And
just
mysteriousness.
Yeah, that has just stuck in the world's head since she popped up. So absolutely a general.
Yes.
Not a lot of debate there. So that brings us to our second one, and that would be Blowtorch, as you can see by his bright yellow helmet. Blowtorch. Well, we didn't see a whole lot of him in the comic. We saw a little bit of him on the cartoon where he was inexplicably very Irish.
From Tampa.
In his defense, the last name is Irish.
Being of
But
Irish
in
descent
Tampa.
and being Irish are two
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, but at least it's
But we always
not
laugh.
Clutch's Jersey twang.
I always laugh at the episode Red Rocket's Glare, because that's Blowtorch's big moment, right? Like the Joes, the Recondo and Roadblock and Blowtorch are leading a regiment, and they're knocking over Destro's secret lab in the jungle. And it's Blowtorch who breaks free and gets behind the lines and chases Destro out of the lab and almost catches him, and just comes this close to just ending the episode right there. And the reward for that is they send Roadblock and Recondo on 2 weeks of leave. Blowtorch is never seen again in the episode. He's the big hero, and he got nothing. He got Lucas. So I would say just because he did show up on the cartoon and did have a distinctive voice as supplied by Michael Bell and did occasionally have moments like that, I think Blowtorch goes in the Corporal line. I don't see him much else. Anybody have anything to add on Blowtorch?
I agree with that. I mean, his color scheme just makes him stand out whenever he shows up anyway. So, he's got that going for him. And, he's got a rather dynamic weapon. So
He's
you're going to
definitely
remember
not a
him.
private. Yeah, he's definitely not a private.
Yeah, but I think this is where he's at.
I think
He's not a sergeant.
He would have got more play, except he's a flamethrower, and I'm guessing they didn't want to have a guy
Kids playing with
using
fire.
that much on a kid's cartoon. And I mean, that's a terrifying weapon, right? When they're all shooting laser guns, for him to be effective with his weapon of choice, he actually has to be burning people to death.
I mean, he'd have made Sergeant, but Ritz Murphy says it. He let Destro get away.
Yeah.
But he does have one of the most oft-repeated catchphrases in G.I. Joe history: pork chop sandwich.
Pork chop sandwich.
So yeah, Corporal for how important he is and how cool he was and revolutionary he was. But yeah, he just never got much.
According to Kirk Bazigian, when I talked to him once, he said that Blowtorch was one of the best-selling figures ever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he sticks out.
Yeah,
he's a cool-looking figure.
I wish they could have done, even as a kid, I wish they could have done the mask a little better. Just that it doesn't look like there's a view plate in front of the eyes, right? It just looks like they put a GIMP mask on him and gave him a flamethrower and said,
right.
Good luck, Tim.
Even if it was just a black paint deco there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what can you do? It's 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's easy enough to I could customize that. Maybe
you could do a video on it.
It's a good idea.
Anyways, that brings us to Tan Clutch. I know Clutch's ranking is one that rankled a lot of folks. We put him at the low end of Major back in 1982. Now, Tan Clutch, I'm not going to put him there because except for the cartoon, you never saw Tan Clutch anywhere else.
But is Tan Clutch another character? It's still Clutch.
Yeah, it's still Clutch, but it just, whatever. It doesn't matter. I just don't think that, like, there's some characters get to be big enough that I don't think that what suit they're wearing matters. And like Roadblock's in that category. Like, it doesn't matter what clothes Roadblock is wearing. Roadblock is Roadblock. But, like, and they put him in all the different uniforms and stuff as time went on. With, like, Clutch, that never changed his uniform. Like, he just, whatever, it's green.
There's a difference, at least visually, between Roadblock 1 and Roadblock 2. But Clutch 1 and Clutch 2,
it's a repaint.
Same shirt, different color.
Right. And we did have Grunt as a corporal in 1982, and then made Tan Grunt a private.
Oh, true. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem there. I don't think Tan Clutch is getting us it because it didn't do anything to change the character at all. And that's really the only thing we can judge on a repaint like this. I'm going to go ahead and pop him. Just get an entry on the private line because there aren't going to be many of those for 1984. I don't think.
Yeah.
We'll just get him on
it. That's not a statement on Clutch. That's a statement on his shirt.
Right. It's his laundry.
Yeah.
This iteration of Clutch.
Yeah. Moving on. We have the Cobra Water Moccasin pilot, Copperhead. And Mark Weber, I have not gone to you yet in this segment. We're on the fourth figure, so there's obviously something wrong with me. So why don't you go ahead and start the discussion on Copperhead?
I liked Copperhead, just the idea of a kind of a musclehead guy. The thing he came with was cool, but it wasn't too expensive, so nobody was priced out. Almost any kid could have gotten the water moccasin, at least as a birthday present or something like that. The idea that he was a real dude who may have had gambling debts that forced him into Cobra's service. There's a little bit of depth there that I like that you didn't often get in the villain file cards. So the fact that this felt like it was an actual guy, I always gave him credit for. But I'm trying to think of a defining moment or in the entertainment or in the comic where you're like, oh yeah, that was when he really stood out. And I don't think he ever got that, or I can't remember it anyway. Even though I thought he probably deserved one and could have had one, he just always felt like he should have. No, I'm not ripping Copperhead, but not that he should have done more, but that he was capable of more and never quite got that spotlight.
Joe Colton, anything to add to that?
Nope.
I'm going to real quick interject on Clutch real quick. Travis Moody says, Tan Clutch is a private, regular Clutch is a sergeant. Incorrect. Regular Clutch is a major. That's on the previous episode. And remember, that list is definitive. So... anyhow, yes, that's kind of the part we play. Rack Time Rob, you got anything for Copperhead?
No, not really. No comic appearances whatsoever. Cool figure, comes with a cool boat, a little bit of interest on the cartoon, to make him, a little bit of notice. He's probably about a corporal.
I like that he was a little bit hard to fit in the cockpit on his own boat.
Yeah.
Which made you think, wow, this guy's pretty beefy, right?
I loved Copperhead. I used to drag him out even when we didn't do anything with the water moccasin. Just because he had so much character as a figure. I love playing with him, but he's a corporal.
Yeah. He's got a little flavor, but in the end, just not enough pull.
So that brings us to Cutter. Now, I do want to say that we're going to expunge any of the terrible memories that Joe's friend William has created about Cutter. And that's not going to be a part of our evaluation here.
We won't punish the character.
Right.
I'd like it to be a private, please. Not even on the board if possible, but I'll take private.
That's not going to happen.
Come on, he's not that great a character.
No.
Skip A. Stone from Kansas. I mean,
so Skip A. Stone, Racktime Rob, why don't you, as somebody who had Cutter as a kid, why don't you go ahead and lead in on this one?
I mean, Cutter has some decent moments in the comic, decent moments in the cartoons.
Volleyball coach.
Actually, I think it's swim coach, but anyway. Yeah,
important.
Yeah, but a lot of them have to do with the fact that he's driving the whale, and the whale, let's just put it, is the whale's the biggest kick-ass vehicle, of the early days of Joe. So
I agree with Rob. I think he gets most of his cred from his ride. Right?
He's kind of like Ace in that respect, where he gets a lot of cred. The fact that Ace had the Sky Striker, and the Sky Striker was cool. Cutter came with the hovercraft, and the hovercraft was cool.
Yeah, and I think that Ace. I think we put Ace as a sergeant, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I don't think Cutter's better than that. Yes.
No,
I certainly don't, and I don't think he's even on level with that.
Mm-mm.
So I would put him as a corporal, and then I would dock him one because he's got a Red Sox hat.
Yeah, now we're talking.
We're gonna put him right there. No, we're not gonna put him right there.
So Boston's in 5th place,
as they should be.
Put him on the corporal line.
Although at least Boston has the honesty to not cry poor, but yet take in more from revenue sharing than they spend on salary. Tampa.
That's true.
Right. But yeah, Cutter's great, and he's very much the Joe's version of Copperhead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of personality there that they just never explored.
It always struck me as funky that he's this big sea captain guy, but he's got this giant orange life preserver on him, right? This big vest, like he just knows something bad might happen out there.
Right.
I get that it's maybe realistic, but
there's a lot of missiles on that hovercraft. People are shooting at him.
Yeah.
He understands the game.
I suppose
People are shooting at him.
maybe if he had a big inflatable
Safety
rubber
first.
ducky around his waist too, and swim flippers, and I know this is going to end badly.
Well,
There's the hovercraft
that's
captain,
really
Cutter.
pessimistic. A
Why
life
does
jacket
he
is
have-
just being prepared.
Why does he have a
Getting the full
mask
deep
and a
sea gear on your
snorkel
boat,
on,
that's
right?
just pessimism to its highest order.
So speaking of hitting the drink, that brings us to everybody's favorite egg-shaped GI Joe, Deep Six.
Yeah.
Good old Humpty Dumpty.
Now, this is, and I will stand by this, the worst figure that ever was put out with the label GI Joe attached to it. That's probably not true because there's those Pepsodent ones from India that don't have any real. So it's better than those. But anyways, this is the worst of the classic Real American Hero line, 82 to 94. He's the worst. He has 2 points of articulation. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Now, on the cartoon, Deep Six was pretty great. He was kind of a jerk. He was a pessimist. He was dour.
He's one of the few like Joes whose like personality, like from the file card and the comic, actually carries into the cartoon. He'd just rather be alone.
Yeah.
Which he was in every kid's toy bin.
Well, the total lack of articulation on the shark, a Deep Six really hurts the shark too as a toy. So
Right. Deep Six was the only character that would fit right in the shark. So despite the fact that the cartoon had the shark flying all over the place, like the toy was really, really hindered because it would just like Deep Six. When we played with Deep Six, he went in the shark and he never came out.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
the shark, as cool as the shark is and the idea of it, the fact that nobody could sit in it and look like they were actually piloting it is a massive drawback, along with that flimsy ass windshield hinge or cockpit hinge that broke if you sneezed at
it's
it.
a real fail. I mean, you could kind of, if you laid your figures on their stomach and put their arms underneath them like this, they could kind of sit in the shark, but nobody really fit in the thing. So it really did.
And slide around like crazy if you moved it at all. Right?
Yeah.
It was just the shoebox cockpit stunk.
Michael Mercy throws it out there. Ever seen a Mega Viper? Yes. And I'd take a Mega Viper over Deep Six.
I gotta imagine when kids took all their Joes out of the toy box and intentionally left Deep Six and then closed the toy box, the remaining Star Wars figures in there were like, look at this guy. What a chump.
No,
hey, big boy, sit up. No.
R2-D2 spinning his head just to show off the one more point of articulation.
R2-D2's like, you suck.
He probably was. R2 is a foul-mouthed little guy.
It's true.
So I'm going to put Deep Six on the corporal line because he's an awful toy, but he is a really memorable character. He got some run in the comic. He got some run in the cartoon. He hasn't really been seen since. And I think that, like, if Blowtorch is a corporal, then Deep Six is a corporal.
Right.
And Deep Six is that rare character. Better figures came later.
Yeah.
True. The other Deep Six will probably rate maybe probably the same because end of the day, never. But anyways, somebody talk me out of that now. Otherwise, I'll leave him on the corporal.
That's fine. I just like the idea that somebody years later pitched Deep Six Volume 2 and got it through, right? Like
we got to make this guy with legs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. That's a good
all
argument.
new. Low bar. It'll be much better.
And Deep Six version 2 is a pretty good figure. I like him.
Okay. I'll get to.
But anyways, that brings us to Duke.
I mean,
not a lot of debate here either, is there?
No.
Joe Colton, why don't you talk about Duke for a second?
He's Diana Davis's favorite character. He's
Okay,
quite handsome.
That's the first thing we got to talk about.
Yes, she's in the chat. Yes.
All right, fair enough.
He's quite handsome. Good leader.
a man.
Golden boy. Man of action. Totally relatable to the average American.
Becomes the face of the franchise.
Becomes the face of the franchise.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's
Golden Boy.
He doesn't answer to anybody but Snake Eyes in regards to being a G.I. Joe character. So why don't we just go ahead and just take Duke and just drive him right up?
Let's just put him right up there.
Next to his movie girlfriend, the Baroness.
Right.
That's right.
It's the Baroness, by the way.
Sister.
If we're going movie, Baroness.
He's right. He's in that small group with Destro and Steeler.
That's it.
All right.
Great man.
That brings us to Firefly.
Here's an interesting one.
Yeah, we might have something here. So Firefly is one of those characters. He comic book cartoon. He pops up again in Sigma 6 and has a pretty big role. He never really left.
Goes away.
once he was introduced, but there were a lot of runs in there where he didn't have a bunch to do. He kept getting dragged back out for repaints and remolds and what have you in the figure line too. So clearly Firefly is popular and has some kind of an effect. But I want you guys to give an idea on where he sits on here. Why don't you go ahead and start us off, Mark Weber?
I mean, he can't be general because, right, anybody at the general level is somebody who isn't a Joe fan would recognize, right? It's your Dukes, it's your Snake Eyes, your Baroness, your Destro. So, and obviously he's better than a Corporal. So I think your argument here is Major versus Sergeant. He's around a long time. He's important in almost every media. He's actually pretty good in Retaliation.
Yeah.
So,
Ray Stevenson in Retaliation gave Firefly a nice shine. I think that actually pushes him out of the sergeant line and into the major line.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Every iteration of Joe, they kind of make sure to get a Firefly out there fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a good, solid villain, and I don't know anybody who says I don't.
He's a henchman, but he's a very good henchman.
Yeah, so I'm digging it. I think I'm with you, Mike. I would give him that bump up to Major. He's important. He's not top level Cobra, right? For importance overall, but yeah, he's on that next step down.
He's not Major Blood Major, but he's still a Major.
Yeah. Like I said, he's a henchman, but he's a good henchman.
Joe Colton, anything to add there?
Well, before your comment, I was going to say he's like a high sergeant, low major, maybe.
I think he's squarely on the sergeant line until Retaliation.
I can deal with that. I'll accept it.
Retaliation was a good enough turn for Firefly that it
easy
too far. But he's a nice
Firefly.
Look at him. Look at that crafty bastard sneaking into the general line like that.
Another toy line made him as well for
He's been fighting Batman for 50 years.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
That's another Firefly.
If you look at Retaliation, he might have the most screen time of any villain. He certainly does the most, right?
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Between the Storm Shadow turn and Cobra Commander kind of posing most of the movie, right? But not doing a whole lot.
And Zartan being Jonathan Pryce for most of the movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Look, I never liked Jonathan Pryce.
Oh no, I liked him in that.
Love him.
Oh, let him chew all the scenery he wants.
I remember him doing Lexus commercials. And being
yes.
so pompous, I wanted to punch him in the face. So,
well, that's kind of the point of Lexuses in general, isn't it?
So violent.
He deserved it. Anyway.
Actually, I think they were Infinity commercials.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I also remember that Mike Myers did a spoof of them with the Infinity toilet.
So anyways, moving on. Next up, as you can tell by his smiling visage, is Mutt. One of my personal favorites. But Mutt is
because with the doggy.
Notable in that he is one of the first Joes to have a pet or an animal, if you will. And got a lot of run for a while in the comic book early on when he first appeared. And then got a good run on the first season of the cartoon. And we haven't seen too much of him since. But you guys, why don't we start with Mutt here? Ragtime Rob.
Mutt did stretch into the comics a little bit. I mean, he even had like a storyline about him around issue 100. But I think he's a sergeant. Okay. He's very notable, but the sergeant's like one of those background characters you really like. They get to do something every once in a while. They're noticeable. You pick them out of a crowd, but I think Sarge is where he could be. And
yes,
could
drive a Sky Striker.
So could Junkyard though. So, so could Destro.
Joe Colton, what about Mutt?
I think he's a low sergeant, high corporal, but like he comes around, and I don't know. It's tough.
Like, we don't have Junkyard on here as a separate entry. I
Right.
think Junkyard
Together, yes, Sergeant.
like Junkyard scores him a couple extra points.
Yeah.
There were
Because he's a good puppy.
He's like a puppy.
stories available to Mutt because he had this best friend with him all the time.
Right.
So I got Mutt squarely on the sergeant line.
Okay. Yeah.
Mark Webber, you going to talk me out of that?
No, that's. I mean, he's somewhere on that sergeant corporal line. But if you look at the other Joes at corporal, he's more than blowtorch or cutter or deep six. So dropping him sergeant, I'm good with that.
He had a bigger role on the cartoon, so I think that gives
He did
an edge too. He's running around with Flint. He's with Dusty on the space station. He's getting shot at by Rock and Roll when he deserts the Joes. Yeah, it's all good stuff from that.
And he's urging kids to stop all the downloading.
Right. And Randy Ashley adds that Mutt had a cool gun.
That's true.
So we're about at the halfway point. Go ahead, Jeff.
Mutt was one of the only ones who actually had a weapon pointing on the card art.
Yeah.
Very rarely did they actually have it pointing anywhere, and he's shooting right at you. So good for you, Mutt.
Not only that, his dog's coming right at you, too.
Yeah, dude, very aggressive.
So just to remind everybody, we're about at the halfway point, so it's a good point to take a break. Let Joe Colton get some more vodka.
Yeah, let's get her all liquored up, because look who's next.
Right?
Yeah. General Recondo.
If you're watching us on Facebook tonight, be sure to give us some kind of a reaction. Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a little huggy guy. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. And just a reminder to everybody, whether you're watching us live or whether you're watching a recording or even listening to the audio feed on Podbean, the thing you can do to help us out the most is head to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, even if that's not the place that you normally take in what's on Joe Mind. But thank you so much for doing that and helping us out. So that brings us to Recondo. And I'm going to guess that Joe Colton would rather have me leave him here in the void, rank free. But Joe Colton, I'm going to turn this to you first. What line do we put Recondo?
Private.
Okay, so Joe Colton is out. Mark Webber, where do we put Recondo?
I mean, he's
Corporal.
he's a little bit like Mutt. He's on that sergeant corporal line. So
Nah.
I could be swayed either way. But the thing about Recondo is
He's
people
shit.
liked him because of his hat. That's it. If his hat wasn't folded in half at all, but he has a disproportionate amount of popularity.
Just from a hat.
He does.
I'm just saying, is Recondo a top 25 Joe? Probably at the low end.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Should he be?
Not really.
I don't know.
Eh.
So, oddly, disproportionately popular. That's how I describe him. So, I could be swayed sergeant or corporal. I don't think he's as important as Mutt, but he's definitely better than deep six, cutter, or blowtorch. So,
Racktime Rob, what are you thinking there? Racktime Rob, your microphone is not on. Dumbass.
oh,
I don't even remember muting it. I must have bumped it or something.
What's
Mike
that?
has a button that mutes your mic.
Yeah, but if I had done it, he wouldn't have been able to undo it. So
Oh,
I
power.
have the authoritative.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If I told you as a child you would grow up to have a button that could make your brother shut up and only you could undo it, pretty good.
Mike
I
Webber
wish I had
would
one.
still be having a silent night, wouldn't he?
I wish I had one. Anyway,
Racktime Rob, start at the beginning.
All right. He has some cool moments in the comics, like his introduction's pretty cool. He's got some cool moments in the cartoon.
Yes, he does.
I feel like you're stretching here.
I think he's a sergeant.
Oh my God.
he's trying to counterbalance your unnatural hatred for this character.
And
Right.
plus, he has Tom Selleck's mustache.
That's a good
Got
point.
Tom Selleck's mustache.
A hat and a mustache
Joe Colton.
make it the good figure does not.
why don't
Just
you
imagine
Yoda.
that could have been Indiana Jones, man.
You're
why
talking
don't
like
you
Yoda.
describe to everyone why you hate Recondo? You've done it before, so this is not new ground. We just have a lot of new fans. So why don't you give us the 60-second version on why you hate Recondo?
So I didn't mind him before. However, there was a fellow cosplayer, and we're not even going to say a fellow, there was a cosplayer who, when I was leading the Finest, a G.I. Joe costume club, which is a charity club, decided to come to a con with a real weapon. And his excuse to me was, I have a permit. And I said, well, I don't give a bleep. You're not supposed to have this on this property.
Now we're bleeping?
Well, because I'm going to go on a tirade of swearing.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Hey,
And we just got 1,000 subscribers. So he words were exchanged, and he also travels as Recondo on the regular, on flights, with that fucking hat.
Remember, folks, our coffee link is down below.
yeah,
So I
because we ain't getting some subscribers anymore. Super chats out.
totally dislike this man, and he ruined the character because he was so adamant. He was like, well, and then he showed up at Dragon Con, and he said, well, I can carry around, because it's like the Dragon Con is a con where it's all of downtown Atlanta. And he's like, so you can't just tell me like I can't have it. And I was like, well, you're out of the Finest, because I'm not fucking dealing with some lunatic carrying around a weapon.
Right. You can't be responsible for that.
No,
Was his I don't know this person. Was his mustache real or fake?
It was real.
Mustache was legit.
Yeah.
I've met him.
Was-
I know who Joe's talking about.
He's a douche.
Mustache was legit. He was really weird. Really weird dude.
Yeah, on a scale of like 1 to 10 for like putting him on a list to watch, I'd put him on a 15. I'm not joking. Like, I'm serious. Like,
No, I know you're not.
he didn't scare the bejesus out of me, but he scared a lot of people. So I was
Right.
like,
Still on. I mean, I realize we're just.
I had to get up in his face basically and be like, go fucking put this in your room and don't take it out. And I don't care what you do from here to the airport, but you are not bringing it on the floor of this con.
Is this guy still active in the community at all? I realize we're coming out of a pandemic, but
I haven't seen him in several years, but he was on Facebook a while back. He's out of California, which is random. Like, he would collect like military trucks, guns. Like, he used to eat MREs at cons.
nobody likes MR.
So, anyways,
willingly.
scarring experiences with random weirdos notwithstanding, we're gonna go ahead and slide.
I'll give you corporal, but I'm not sold on sergeant.
I'm sliding him onto the sergeant line because I agree with Mark's assessment most of all, that there's like Recondo's kind of like Copperhead, kind of like Cutter. There's a lot there that kind of didn't get utilized, but for whatever reason, he's more popular. So I think that in terms of impact, Recondo slides up to the low end of the sergeant line.
And it's not his fault.
And if we
There's
have
a
a
jackass cosplayer out there.
Bryn Anderson asks, can we start a coffee fund to get Joe Colton to do a Recondo cosplay? No, I'm not going to do that to her. Not going to do that to her.
Joe posted a photo from her recent cruise wearing a giant hat. And I'm the Yahoo to comment, hey, fold half of that up.
C.S. Sherman says, I feel like I should cosplay Recondo at Dragon Con and be real nice to Joe just to improve his reputation.
See, now that's solving a problem. That's taking action.
That's
Good for you, C.S. Sherman.
Very proactive. Nod, tip of the cap.
But I like C.S. Sherman, so like I would be really like I'd be normal and be like, oh my god, you're making me want.
You go for it, C.S. Sherman.
He's I'm going to guess that they've met, so he's taking his life into his own hands, but he knows what he's doing. So, Godspeed, C.S. Sherman. That brings us to Ripcord. And Ripcord is a guy with maybe one of the most convoluted histories in the entire franchise. We've got Ripcord here. He had a big story in the Marvel comic. He was a regular supporting character in season 1 of the Sunbow cartoon. He didn't do a whole lot, but he popped up a bit. And then came back in Rise of Cobra. He came back in Renegades. Ripcord has made the rounds. He was a source of a lot of controversy because they made Ripcord an African-American character in later incarnations, and that seems to be what they're sticking with more often than not. But I got Ripcord on the Sergeant line. What do you think, Racktime Rob?
I agree. He's got enough of a run to warrant that, but he disappears and then comes back.
He matches the wallpaper a lot. Mark Weber.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with Sargent, but I remember as a kid, I didn't like this figure, and I should have, because I like guys that came with a lot of equipment and unique equipment, and the whole idea of a halo jumper, which I knew nothing about, is cool. But he was so glaringly smooth as a sculpt that he felt like he didn't belong with the rest of my figures. It felt like it was a core figure, right? Or a Sergeant Rock figure mixed in with my Joes. That always bothered me. And I think early on, if a guy had this is one of the first ones where I thought I already had an airborne kind of guy, because I had airborne from 1 year prior. So it miffed me a little bit that I don't even have a parachute guy. I have a parachute guy. I know airborne, the character, wasn't quite the same thing. But I remember as a kid going, I wish they'd have given me a who knows what, right? Something different. So he was not a favorite of mine, but yeah, I think he fits on that Sergeant role.
I always thought the smoothness came from extra padding because he was high altitude, so he needed the insulation.
I'm not saying it didn't maybe make sense, but it was jarring to me because it was so different from other Joes. I guess I just wanted some pouches or something.
I know he got a big run in Rise of Cobra, but I maintain that that's actually supposed to be Stalker, and they just had to give him a less controversial codename. I'm
glad it wasn't Stalker.
Right, especially if it's the guy who's chasing Scarlet around all movie long. Maybe we don't want to call that guy Stalker.
Yeah.
But, that brings us to Roadblock.
Ooh.
And Roadblock is a big effing deal, if we're going to just throw a phrase at it. But how big of a deal is Roadblock? Mark Weber.
I mean, I think we're all arguing. If we're arguing here, we're arguing on the general major line, right? Like, he's a big, big, big deal. Every iteration.
Yeah.
Of any entertainment, of any, they made him in every toy line, right? Was he in Sigma 6? Yeah.
And they make him early.
Yeah. He's really big
he's one of the first ones out of the chute.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Sigma 6 had heavy duty.
Oh, okay. So maybe.
Well, that was at a time too when they didn't have the Roadblock name, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that could be it. But I think
Sigma 6 wasn't making no double blast.
For a line that was always front and center with diversity, and a lot earlier than a lot of other toy lines, as much as we love Stalker, he doesn't hold up to Roadblock's overall use and popularity. So I think inarguably the most important, or at least popular, African American character in the G.I. Joe mythos. It's a big deal. So I would, if I had to lean one way or the other, I think he's teetering over there on that general side.
Yeah, I think it's rather easily into the general territory. The man was portrayed by The Rock on film.
Yeah.
The best movie star in the world is you. You're a general, right? Joe Colton, what do you think of Roadblock?
And that's his movie.
Yeah.
I like him a lot, so I would say major.
You're crazy. Crazy.
I think I like him on the major line. I realistically he's a sergeant. I think.
What?
Wow. You are the Russian figure skating judge.
Holy crap, Joe
I'm
Colton.
kidding. Oh my god, you guys.
The fragile French judge.
Right? Oh my god.
You're making Rob. You're making jokes that nobody's going to get but me.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know what that means. Is this
Long
a figure
story.
skating joke?
It is a figure skating joke.
Yes.
Oh, I got it.
There you go.
I thought it was a Simpsons reference.
Oh, it might have been.
That's a good guess, Mark. That's
Yeah.
a solid guess always. But
I only got it because Russian judge.
Yeah.
I am going to go ahead and just drop him up
Yes.
here next to his boy Duke.
My god. Why? I don't understand why we had to discuss that one.
I thought there would be more of a major general type of divide there, but apparently not. I think we're all pretty well in unison here. Okay, so keeping this ball party rolling, Scrap Iron is up next. Josiah, real quick on Roadblock, Josiah Alcorn says that the rhyming didn't age well. But, truthfully, I've watched a lot of those cartoons lately. He really doesn't do it that often. I think.
Oh, he doesn't? I feel like I remember him doing it all the time.
No, I think it's just the times that he did it, it was so pronounced that it kind of stuck to him. But a lot of the times he really didn't.
Yeah.
And he gives the body massage. So
Body massage.
who wants a body massage from you, big man? Absolutely. Anyways. So we got Scrap Iron up next. Big head and all.
Nothing wrong with having a big head. Just saying.
Not on this podcast. Absolutely.
Just saying.
Ragtime Rob, why don't you kick us off on Scrap Iron?
I like Scrap Iron a lot. I don't know how important he is to the general scheme of things. I'm kind of thinking he's only a corporal.
I think he had some moments. He did blow up Billy. So,
But he didn't finish the job.
so
He finished the soft master.
Yeah, I'd have rather seen him than Billy. He didn't finish. He killed the wrong one.
he hit Billy with a missile. So general or super general?
And he killed Billy general, but he didn't finish the job. You have to pay for your failure.
But showed up. He's a popular guy to bring back. He shows up in Renegades.
But then very often he doesn't do a heck of a lot.
No, he really doesn't. Like he's always around. But at the same time,
And blowing up the Softmaster is the only thing he did in the comic.
that's true.
But-
That's also true.
But I'll argue the other side of that. Name me a Cobra who actually killed a G.I. Joe character. Legit killed.
Major Blood, the Saw Viper.
Saw Viper and
Still a short list.
short list, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I know Soft Master isn't exactly leading man.
He's an
material,
ancillary character. It's
but he's a full-on friggin' ninja
Mhm.
yeah.
that he turned into a fine red mist. So
Joe Colton, what do you have for Scrap Iron?
I don't know.
I have him.
Corn.
I have him kind of like Ricondo, in that he maybe didn't do too much, but had a general enough specialty that he showed up a lot, and he's more popular than what his actions dictate.
Mhm.
So I have
right.
same reasons I've got Ricondo on the sergeant line. I'm inclined to put Scrap Iron on the sergeant line.
I guarantee you, if they announced and he looked good, Scrap Iron in the classified line, that the fandom would be well pleased. Right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I like the figure
This
a
is
lot.
A guy people like a lot. Killed Soft Master, and I remember as a kid just seeing him in pack. I'm like, look at all that stuff from the biggish missile launcher, right? And then I'm counting 2 missiles and a base, so now we're at 4, and the 2 legs, 5, 6, and the cord, that's 7, and a pistol. 8 little things came with this guy. It was like a double figure. Meanwhile, Breaker's got a backpack and a headset and a helmet going, ooh, I don't even get a gun. So I dug him just because I saw him as a kid as like value on the peg. So he's completely sergeant in my book. But I agree with you, Mike. He's like Ricondo. He's more popular than he probably earned.
All right. So I got him on the sergeant line, which brings up Spirit.
Okay.
All right, Joe Colton, why don't you're a big Spirit fan. Why don't you go ahead and
Yeah.
sit on Spirit?
He appeared a lot in the throughout the years of the cartoon and the comic. I think he has
That he did?
Still appearing
he's
in the comic.
unique. Yes, he's a very unique character. I thoroughly have enjoyed him my whole life, so I would put him on the major line.
Mark Webber, what do you think there?
I think the argument is Major versus Sergeant, but I think he's more important than any of the Joes on Sergeant.
Yeah.
He's definitely more important than Ricondo.
Yeah, and
You make it Ricondo again.
He's a guy who should have aged poorly,
But he
because he was so. I want to be very careful how I say this, but he was very stereotypically Native American.
Yeah.
But that didn't doom him as a character. They evolved him. They kept him important.
The classified figure looks freaking awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what they did with him in the, I don't know if it can be underrated because I think everybody likes it, but the Hearts and Minds comic.
Oh, yeah.
Where they actually analyzed him as a guy with like massive ADHD. So instead of being the very stereotypical tracker, Tonto, ear to the ground, Kimosabi, me here, three men on horseback. Instead, he was a guy kind of like Daredevil a little bit, just taking in all the sensory info at one time. And that's what made him a tracker, so to speak, is because he missed nothing because he couldn't miss anything. And it was as much boon as curse. Great book. If you ever read Hearts and Minds, it's only a couple issues. Go get it. But yeah, I think
you can buy the hardcover for pretty affordable prices.
Yeah, it's some of the best Joe work ever done by Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z. So yeah, I think I've talked myself into Major, but mainly because he's more than Mutt. He's more than Ricondo.
Yeah,
he's
he
more
is.
Than Ripcord. But he's not. He's obviously not Duke or Roadblock.
No.
So I think that slots him pretty easily.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that's Spirit is right there on the major line, and come on, there we go. There we go.
He's not like the main Joe. He's on the next level though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's on the next level. Down.
He's on a new level.
Stop. I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, you can because it's incomprehensible.
That's Kylie Minogue. Na. Oh, sorry. I didn't just do that to you four. I did that to the millions and millions of the people watching.
Right? She was a big deal worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
She was a legitimate star here, but man, the rest of the world couldn't escape Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the Stinger driver, and I'm just going to go ahead and drop him on the private line, and we can move forward.
There we go.
Yes,
Yeah.
As
straight. He's lesser clutch.
Yeah, straight repaint. Never depicted on the cartoon, never depicted in the comic. He was just a guy who came with the vehicle. So no real spot in the lore. And now we got Storm Shadow. We'll swing the fences back the other way.
Yeah, enough said.
Right? And this is probably the number 3 character in the entire franchise behind Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander. So why don't we just go ahead and drop him up on the general line?
There we go.
Boom. Okay. So that gets us to Thunder. Mark Webber, you're a Thunder guy.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts on Thunder.
Laugh all you want. Top 5 for me for favorite figures ever. I thought the Slugger was great. I absolutely ate up vehicle drivers that came with stuff. And he had that weird binocular and this funky helmet that had the best visor we'd ever received, right?
True.
Dark with the nose cut on it. And I mean, he just absolutely knocked my socks off. Loved this guy. Matter of fact, years ago, we have it on the on some early pre-video What's on Joe Mine episodes. I dug out my original Thunder and found that I had replaced his waist piece. Because imagine, as a kid, he's one of your favorites, and the crotch breaks. I know what Mike can feel that pain being a beachhead guy.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't, I don't have the funds to buy another Slugger to get a new Thunder, right? There's no eBay back then. I can't, no kid is trading me his Thunder figure because you can't buy a new one. And it may have broken. I honestly don't remember. It may have broken once the Slugger was gone. And you couldn't, even with $50, you couldn't buy a new Slugger. So I looked around at my Joes and I needed to find somebody with black pants to replace the waist piece. And I sacrificed Sergeant Slaughter. I had Slaughter's waist piece, making Thunder legit. Probably the only kid in the U.S. who was going to look at his Joes and go, Thunder's broken. I can sacrifice the Sarge.
Time to give up for your country, Sarge.
That's it. So I don't have, all right, I've since repurchased, but I didn't have an original Sergeant Slaughter because I had sacrificed him to make Thunder whole. That being said, he made almost no impact anywhere. He made a big impact in Bill Nedro's fan fiction, but Kindle World Stories. He actually led the last stand, an artillery stand, to hold off Cobra and let the Joes escape, and sacrificed his life in the process. And I'm like, that's my man Thunder. But that's all he ever did, other than get shot by a saw viper, right?
Yeah, Yellow S, was Thunder ever in the comic? And yes, he was, pretty much to die at the hands of the saw viper.
Yeah, I think he's a background character in the comic, but the only time he ever gets named is when he's getting blown away.
That's it. So I love him, and he's completely a project.
He had some. I'm going to give him. I would put him on the corporal line because he gets
a little personality in the cartoon.
Yeah, he shows up on the Sunbow cartoon quite a bit. We get a little insight into, he's one of the guys who gets spotlighted in Captives of Cobra, where they're kidnapping everybody's family.
All right, I'll take it. Hey, I like him.
He's not getting in there by a whole lot, but he's corporal. Joe Colton, any argument there? Or do you hate any Thunder cosplayers that we don't know about?
I'm good with Thunder.
All righty.
There is a guy out there who does a pretty bitchin' Thunder cosplay. If you can get the helmet right, you can pretty much pull him off.
Up next, and Jeff Butler as well. Without Thunder, knowing Mr. Murphy, we'd have never seen Gung Ho struggle to ride a horse. Which,
not a lot of horses in the bayou.
Yeah. Anyways, bring us to Wild Weasel. I had the Rattler as a kid, and Wild Weasel pretty much sat in the Rattler. Didn't do much else. He wasn't terribly interesting to do a whole lot else. Did not show up a bunch in the comic book except to fly the Rattler. Did have that one memorable dogfight with Ace that they keep trying to replay, but good pilot is not necessarily a character trait. Mark Weber, what do you think of Wild Weasel?
I mean, as a kid, I loved him, but I liked pilots and I liked guys that came with vehicles. I also remember this is pre-Crimson Guard. So for all your Cobras, he is violently red.
Yeah, so very true.
Yeah.
He absolutely, if you had him separate from the Rattler, if you had him with your Cobras, you could not miss him. And I always thought they missed the opportunity with him because they talked about on his file card that he had a sibilant speech pattern because they thought his mouth had been injured in a strafing run, I think they said somewhere. And so the idea that this guy would have a heavy lisp or some kind of speech pattern that made him sound different from everybody else, I thought that was cool, but they never, ever dug into that.
Mhm.
I always wish they'd done more because I liked him from the Shakedown comic. Because it's one of maybe my favorite Joe comic ever when he and Ace, fight until they're both completely out of weapons and then they cross and salute. Spoiler. But I love.
It's been a bit. You're
Yeah,
fine.
it's probably okay, right? If you haven't got to it yet, that's on you, not me. So for this is a guy I really like, but I understand that I like him more than he probably deserves.
Rack Time Rob, you're thinking intently down there.
He's like Ace and Cutter. Cool vehicle, but all his cool moments become because he's behind the stick of the vehicle.
And I think it weakens the cartoon weakened Ace and Wild Weasel because everybody flew a Rattler. Everybody flew a Sky Striker, right?
Well, with Wild Weasel being a named character, and you figure Cobra has more than one Rattler, seeing other people fly a Rattler wasn't that big a deal.
Right,
but they never showed why Wild Weasel would be like maybe the best pilot Cobra has.
Right, and like if a Rattler came over the horizon on the cartoon, 10-1 that was Baroness or Destro in it, and not Wild Weasel.
Yeah,
right.
But is he more important or more visible than the Corporal line?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. I think he should have been.
He should have been, yes.
Yeah, should have been, but wasn't.
He's Cobra's version of Ace, only there was already so much going on with the lives of the Cobra brass that there was no time for Wild Weasel to develop a personality.
And Wild Weasel is a henchman,
But so I think because of his high points, he's pretty squarely in that Corporal line. But I don't see him being anything more than that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, and that's we're last on board here. We got Zartan. So this is another one I expect to some debate. Why don't you kick us off there, Rob? Where do you have Zartan?
I'm thinking. Well, the figure makes a huge impact because of the color change.
Yeah.
He's a major villain in the comic.
Yeah.
He's a major villain in the cartoon.
Yeah.
General.
He shows up all the time. Hey, keep bringing Zartan back. Even Paul Aller got Zartan in.
Yeah.
Big deal in
General.
In the movies, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. General.
Yeah. I mean, I think without even if you go up to somebody on the street, you say, "Hey, remember Zartan?" They'd be like,
the figure that changed color? Yeah.
Who couldn't go in the sun? Yeah. I think he's a hands down a general, unless anybody has an argument.
I don't know that he's hands down, but if you're looking at your Cobras there, he's definitely more than Firefly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not.
Shadow, he's not a bigger deal than the Baroness, but I think he's right in that club.
I think he's just a little bit below, but he's definitely superior to Firefly. So I'm not going to argue with general rank.
Yeah, he's maybe not at the level of Destro and the Baron, but he's not far off.
Yeah, it's not it's no slight to say, well, he's no Baroness, he's no Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But there's no harm in being the 4th or 5th best Cobra of all time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's Cobra Commander, Storm Shadow, Baroness, Destro, and
Zartan.
There you go. Right? I mean, nobody's throwing Overlord up there. But he's got the Dictator now, so everything's happy. Everybody's happy now.
Oh, there you go.
Still on my desk. So, yeah, that does it. That is the definitive 1984 tier list for G.I. Joe characters released to the general public that year. As always, with the mail-away figures, we will get them when they were released on card.
Mm-hmm.
So
84 is a deep bench.
Yeah, 84 is already big enough. I didn't need to be adding a whole lot more to that. So yeah, 84 is big. Look at that. There's 2 privates, and both because they are just cheap repaints, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Clutch and a Cobra officer. Big deal. Whatever. So in order to even check in the class of 84, you have to at least be at the corporal level. And I think that says a lot for what was going on in G.I. Joe at this time.
Yeah, it was a big year.
There's no short fuse in this bunch. Britt Anderson says Duke is ranked way too high. No.
All right, well,
Oh,
we'll let Diana deal
And
with
Diana just killed her.
it.
Bryn could be either.
So again, we are.
Care.
Doug Dello says no major complaints. Firefly is probably a high sergeant, but I can actually no. As you can see on the list there, Firefly is a major, and this is the definitive list. So there. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? What else can you say?
Words.
That's what definitive means. It means this is right.
That's good.
That one was fun. I enjoyed that one. I think I'm going to enjoy the next two.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're probably going to have some fights in the last couple that we do. Yeah, to let everybody in at home, we're not going to go all the way to 94 with this.
No.
Because getting past like 89, things start to get really private heavy.
And weird.
That sounds
I want to see a year that's all privates with like one shining star sergeant. Like, that guy was kind of okay.
That's like 92.
He rocks.
91, 92.
They made a passing reference to him on Renegades.
Mike, you're going to have to adapt the template for smaller pictures because we're going to have like 17 privates at some point.
He's a sergeant because he was the one least damaged by Deke cartoons.
Right. So there we go. I'm saving that one now. I got our list. Just for posterity.
I can't wait for our bonsai as a corporal argument. Fabulous.
That's awful. That is just not good. All right. We'll go ahead. That is being recorded for posterity. We are real short on time. So we're going to go right into shout outs this week, and we'll get back to what we got in next week. You've been gone for 2 weeks. Why don't you give us your shout outs first?
I'm going to give a shout out to the volunteers that are going off to Ukraine on their own. Military personnel from around the world who have volunteered to help the Ukrainian forces defend Ukraine against Russian forces. So I'm going to give a shout out to them and hope they're safe and survive and liberate Ukraine. I'm going to give a shout out to Maggie and William for being on the cruise with me, and the stars of the cruise were awesome.
Who was on the boat?
Oh my God, who wasn't on the boat? Shaniqua from Discovery, Emily Coots, Wilson Cruz, Anthony Rapp, Anthony Montgomery, Galron, which is Bob O'Reilly.
Does he still have the crazy eyes?
He does.
Nice.
He does. He does it all the time. I need to post a picture of him and me on the last night. He was just like, Joe! And I was like, oh my God, why are your eyes like that?
Because he's Galron and he's awesome.
He was like, I didn't know you were on the ship. And I was like, just relax the eyes. Yeah, there's a ton of people. Nana visitor, and she didn't get me drunk this time, which was great.
Major Kira? You know Major Kira?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, her husband had to apologize profusely last time because I was completely inebriated, like blackout. Like Maggie lost me. So
have you seen my 6 foot friend?
Yeah. I disappeared so well that I accosted a woman in a bathroom with a Klingon tattoo, took a picture, and just posted the picture. No context. So Wes had asked me, like, did you get a tattoo? And for like 12 hours, there was no response.
Because you were still sleeping it off.
I apparently got away from Maggie at one point and went go-go dancing with the Borg actors that they had hired from Germany.
She had been assimilated.
Yeah, I accosted a bartender. This is bad. It was bad.
and
Connor
it's,
Trenier and
it's
I
all Major Kira's fault.
hugged, and then he kissed me, and I was okay. And our friend Jackie, who was one of his handlers, she was like, "What is going on with her?" And Maggie's like, "I'm really sorry. She's never like this."
Which was a lie. But
Blame the star of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, so it was good. It's good.
who else?
She
we shot?
actually did. Who else? Mom and Dad always. They're going to be lifting the restrictions in Canada soon, so she'll be able to come down quickly.
Excellent. You got anybody else?
My husband, who poured me a nice giant glass of alcohol this evening.
Remember, our coffee account is down below. So is Joe Colton's. So if you're looking to support her cosplay projects, that's there for you too. But
yes, I should. That's it.
All right. Ragtime Rob, who you shouting out?
Let's see. I could shout out to anyone who didn't annoy me this week, so no one.
Nobody.
Wow, that's a bit much.
Oh, you
even Mike didn't make the list.
No, I deliberately put myself off that list with Picarder. So I mean, I'm some weeks I go for it, man. I'm his younger brother. That's what I do here. What else we got, Ragtime Rob?
Let's see. And a shout out to all who suffered with me this week. There were a lot of them.
There we go. Again,
that's all as deep as I'm getting.
For new fans, Rob teaches special ed in a public high school in central Indiana, the largest high school in all of Indiana. So, yeah. Mark Weber, who we shouting out?
Minor, a little bit heavy this week, but I'll go quick. A guy I worked with at McFarland Toys, an IT guy named Chris Lawson, who was really instrumental in the early days of the internet, getting the Arizona punk scene together as a community. Just a great guy. And I didn't know him real well, but he was just a great guy. And I found out he passed away. So, but I found was directed to a GoFundMe for his wife and his 2 kids, and contributed this morning because it was really close to the goal, and I just found out about it, and I just checked it, and it's like 50% past the goal in one day. So proud of the Arizona punk community for stepping up and helping out Chris Lawson's family. But the flip of that, another person I worked with earlier in my toy career, and we won't give her full name out because it's her own stuff, but to my friend Jen, whose test came back, cancer free. So, for my friend Jen, best news I've heard all year. So, that's the heavy portion of our book.
What else we got, Mark Weber?
That's it. That's good.
I wish I could hug you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
you broke Joe Colton. She's been gone 2 weeks. She's full of booze, crying the rest of the night.
Yeah,
I'm like tearing up. Oh.
Right? Well, it's you can understand why that's a sensitive topic. But
I'll get this quick question in here before you go. Anybody know why in the Deke cartoon one time they changed the name of the October Guard to Red October, then they changed it back? No, we have no idea, other than it was not written well.
Yeah, Deke probably didn't even realize they made the mistake.
Until it was pointed out, and then they were like, "Oh, got to change it back."
You're probably the only person to see that in 33 years, so good job there. But
remember how excited Joe was when she completed her October card set.
Look, man, don't
pick. It's hard to type that in a hurry.
All right, fine.
On typos.
I'm being punchy.
Autocorrect is a thing.
Yeah, autocorrect always gives you the wrong word.
8 tonight, Weber. 8.
Yeah, it's fine.
How many times has Joe Colton sent me a text telling me to go fork myself?
Many a times.
Right?
Or FUXK, because it will not register the same.
Yeah. Yeah, Diana Davis is with me. The answer, Deke sucked. It kind of did.
I think that's the answer.
Kind of did. Kind of did.
I think it's the first time I've seen Diana's like negative. Like,
look,
how can she be negative?
She's
her boy
negative.
was a general,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, shout outs for me. want to give a shout out to everybody watching us live tonight. We appreciate you. Remember, if you have not subscribed, please do that. We're over 1,000 now, but we could use a few more because that's actually the third time we hit 1,000 this week because we kept getting there and then somebody bailed out. We get there again and somebody bailed. So the third time it finally stuck. We're like the freaking Goldilocks story on subscriptions here. Yeah, so to everybody watching live, we appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching us on a recording, hey, thank you. We appreciate you too. Please make sure you're subscribed. If you're on Facebook, go ahead, leave us some kind of a reaction. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a little huggy guy. We love little huggy guy. If you're on YouTube, like the video. Share the video on your YouTube channels, rather on your social media channels. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. And in case you didn't hear us before, subscribe.
Yeah.
If McConkey not trying to take credit.
Wanted to give a shout out to a couple of folks, especially Hooded Cobra Commander 788 really gave us a big push these last few weeks as we got close to 1,000. That dude, he really goes to the mat hard for us. So big props to Brian every week, even the weeks we don't necessarily bring him up specifically. I'm glad that if our show brought along that guy who's brought that community, then we did something right.
Mm-hmm.
Want to also give a shout out to our wonderful sponsors at Kokomo Toys. Haven't sung the theme song for a couple of weeks, so let's go ahead and knock that out now. Kokomo Toys. Give a shout out to really everybody that Joe talked about as far as involved with the business in Ukraine. That's a terrible situation, and just hope that it comes to a peaceful end reasonably soon, and that sanity can be somehow restored. But that's it, man. We're running right up on 2 hours.
Yeah.
We got a lot in. 84 is a big year. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We will do what we got in next week, and hopefully we'll have we've got a number of projects on the burner. There's a lot coming out this spring, so we're playing it by ear a little bit until we hear back from certain folks who we know we've promised the time to. So, for my co-hosts, for Racktime Rob, for Joe Colton, for Mark Weber, I'm Mike Irizarry. Thanks for joining us here on the What's on Joe Mind team stream. We really appreciate it. Oh, give a shout out to Articulated Chad too. Dude got me a bat and he got me an alley viper. So
nice. That's what you got it.
At it, looking right at it all the whole freaking night, and I almost forgot to give him a shout out. Shout out there. But again, for Racktime Rob, for Joe Colton, for Mark Weber, I'm Mike Irizarry. Thanks for watching the What's on Joe Mind team stream.
I got a rock.
Let me find another piece of personal business to throw in the middle of this. Everybody else have a great weekend. And yo, Joe. Come on, Mark. Hold it. Hold it.
I can go all night. I can do this all day.